Hello, welcome back. Another day, another reaction. This time, Austria geography now. I've skipped some videos because um, I didn't really have much to say to them, so I'm just gonna do the ones that I feel like I can add something to. And we have Austria, which, by the way, only 10 minutes. What the fuck? That is crazy disrespectful to the Austrians. Come on, at least 10 more minutes for the Austrians.
Also nicht vergessen.
But I mean, these are the old videos. They definitely have to redo some of these because Austria deserves more than 10 minutes.
Wenn's nach Österreich kommst, auch wenn's Deutsch reden, nennst es nicht Deutsch.
Nenn's that's nicht Deutsch.
It's time to learn geography.
No! Hey peeps, I'm your host Paul Barbado. Let's dissect the flag. The flag is one.
The flag is just boring. They had better flags in the past. I can even put I changed my setup a little bit, so I'm filming the whole screen so I can show you the stuff I'm actually googling. Austria flags. List of Austrian flags on Wikipedia. Here, look at this. We have the list of Austrian flags. This one was used 1230 to 1806, and then sporadically mid. Okay, mid. Now this is just this button better with the coat of arms, which is the war flag, naval ensign, state flag. Yeah, this goes hard. Look at this, the eagle with a sickle and a hammer and this broken chain for whatever reason. I don't care. It looks badass. Why does it look so badass, bro? Oh. Military flags. What is this? Damn, what is this? It's just 10 million flags. It goes hard. Austro-Hungary Navy. I want the historical flags as well. Now look at this. This was the first flag they ever used. And I think it's cool. Was used in 976 until 1136. Medieval banner of the Margravate of Austria, House of Babenberg. Then you had this, the flag of the Archduchy of Austria. Goes hard, the double eagle always goes hard with the Pope. What does the Pope have? Oh, it's a crown with that stuff, and yeah, looking good. Oh, okay, this is the merchant flag of the Archduchy of Austria. I've never seen this flag before. What the hell is this? But it has a double eagle, so it goes hard. It even has a sword here, bro. Okay. Then you had the flag of the Austrian Empire. Pretty boring. Not gonna lie, it's just two colors. Boring. And then you had the unimplemented naval ensign, and then the merchant ensign of Austria-Hungary. And look at this flag. Doesn't this flag go hard? You have red, white, red, and green split 50-50. Then you had the Austrian flag, the Hungarian flag with a crown on top. This is the dual monarchy flag, and it goes hard. This goes hard. I can understand why they can't use this anymore. I mean, Hungary is not a part of them anymore. But if Hungary ever becomes a part of them again, I want them to look like that. Then you had this, the state flag of the federal state of Austria. This goes hard. Two-headed eagle. Like, this goes hard as fuck. Okay, just bring this back and it makes your flag look 10 times better. And then of course the Nazi flag. But yeah, I just had to get it out there. I'm passionate when it comes about flags, and I like flags, unique looking flags. Like this tricolor is always boring. Like, why tricolors? It's so boring. At least put like a coat of arms on it, which makes it already 10 times better, way more interesting. these tri-flags, it's oversimplification, man. It's like those company logos that always get simpler and simpler. This is with flags, and in 10 years you will only have one color as a flag.
The oldest used flags of Europe. Disputably, legend has it that the flag comes from the Siege of Acre after Leopold V came back from battle and removed his belt with his blood-soaked tunic, leaving a red-white banner. Keep in mind,
Okay, that sounds nice. That doesn't sound too bad. Wait, I can do full screen. That doesn't sound that sounds cool.
that the Austrian flag looks very similar to the flag of Latvia. However, the Latvian flag has unequal-sized bands and is a darker shade of red. Keep in mind, many other countries in the Eastern European region, specifically the Pan-Slavic areas, still retain a part or complete version of the white-red pattern on their flags, like Austria. We'll explain a little bit more about this, but first, let's talk about the borders. In terms of its location, Austria is landlocked, bordered by 8 other countries, don't forget Liechtenstein, in the Central European region, with the Alps dominating 3/4 of the country.
Nice troll face, or isn't really a troll face, but a rage comic kind of face. Wild.
In the west and in the center. The country is divided into 9 states, although it's kind of funny because the state of Lower Austria is technically a little higher than Upper Austria geographically. The capital and the large...
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. The thing is, we also have that in Germany. You have Lower Saxony and then just Saxony, while Lower Saxony is geographically higher. It's historical context. With a lot of that, that happens sometimes, like in some European countries, and probably also outside of Europe. Historically, there are sometimes reasons to call something lower or higher that isn't just geographic. For example, topographically higher could also be meant by that. That's also why Lower Saxony is Lower Saxony, because it's so low. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on.
The largest city is Vienna, located on the eastern side of the country, where 1 out of every 8 Austrians can be found. The city is a wonderful assimilation of centuries-old stone churches, palaces, opera houses, and monuments, as well as modern high-rises, skyscrapers, and business offices. Oh, and there's dozens of castles speckled throughout the entire country. Remember how in the Albania video I told you play that whole find the bunker game? Well, in Austria, it's kind of like find the castle game. As a member of the EU, Austria's borders are pretty open with all of its neighbors and are pretty much virtually invisible with the exception of the occasional river or mountain blocking the way. The only controversy it really has is in the South Tyrol region, which historically belonged to a number of different kingdoms and empires, but for a long while it belonged to the House of Habsburg, a historically fascinating lineage that would eventually play a pivotal role in providing half of Europe with all of their monarchical lineages. In short, it kind of initially belonged to Austria. However, after the Treaty of Saint-Germain-en-Laye in 1919, the entire southern part of this region was kind of reluctantly given to the Kingdom of Italy. This explains why Austria has a relatively narrow eastern parameter.
And it was also temporarily given back to Germany in World War II, I think. But then, of course, they got it back. Or it was kind of like transferred in a sort of way, like virtually, you know what I mean? Like, they got it.
That stretches into the Alps, as the South Tyrol region, which previously gave the country a wider range of dominion, was ceded to Italy. Austria was kind of like, okay, Italy, we'll give you this piece of land, but, you know, just a little heads up, pretty much everybody in there is Austrian, and they speak German, and they kind of want to be part of Austria. But hey, it's all yours. The most confusing part of the region, though, would have to be the...
I mean, that happened through all out of history. They didn't care. I mean, how many people spoke French in England in 1066? Didn't matter to the Normans. They were like, man, fuck you, and invaded England.
Jungholz Enclave, located right on the border of the Bavarian region of southern Germany.
The same, of course, with the Romans, with the Mongolians. Who the fuck cared about that?
This place only has about 300 people, separated into 4 small towns. This area is strange because it is one of Europe's only 3 quadrupoint borders and is technically joined by Austria by only a small narrow corridor, only a few meters wide on the top of the adjacent Zugspfhofen mountain that crosses over into the Austria side. Otherwise, the only way to get into Austria from this region is by driving through Germany. This means that if you don't want to go through Germany to get into Austria from this region, the only way is to literally climb to the top of Zugspfhofen mountain to the very point where the 4 borders meet and climb all the way down to the rest of Austria.
Oh, accidentally muted. This must have been annoying before Schengen was a thing.
Borders have been literally marked every single step of the way, and the top has a mark stone that
I mean, nowadays this doesn't matter in Europe, like because of Schengen area, but imagine how this was like before that existed. And this is, I think I heard about a case like this with the Bengali Indian border. There are like these enclaves, and there's like one enclave where there is no doctor, and like I heard like one dude died because he couldn't get a doctor, and he would have to cross like the border to get the doctor, but he couldn't cross the border because they have secure borders and stuff like that. Or maybe that was fake. I don't know.
Distinguishes the narrow crossing. Believe it or not, this is actually a common hike that a lot of people take, despite the fact that many of them don't even understand the significance of the markers. Speaking of mountains and hikes,
it's probably just I can see a town there. Maybe that's just like a nice mountain to climb from that town, and the people like to go climbing.
Let's talk about the physical geography. As mentioned before, about 3/4 of Austria is mountainous, with the Alps dominating the center and western parts of the country. These mountains are the characterizing segments that give Austria its distinct national identity, both historically and culturally. In short, even though the vast majority of people in Austria live in the low-lying plains around the mountains, Austria would not be Austria without the Alps. These mountains can actually be quite quirky, almost with minds of their own. For example, every spring in the Hochschwab Mountains and forests on the east side of the Alps, the snowmelt from the mountains completely engorges the Grüner See, or the Green Lake, engulfing the entire park with trees and benches underneath it. These mountains also provide the perfect setting for Austria's favorite sport, skiing. The problem though is that although these mountains are very beautiful, they do kind of make a lot of the country uninhabitable or difficult to cultivate. Although 40% of the land is covered in forests, less than 20% of the land is arable. And for the record, yes, The Sound of Music was filmed in parts of Austria. No, not everybody has seen or even cared about seeing that movie. Of course, the mighty Danube
I've never seen The Sound of Music. I also don't want to see it. I don't give a shit about it. And it's also the only thing I know about it.
River flows through the northern part of the country and has historically played a vital role in Austria's economy and trade sector, especially after the construction of the Rhine-Main-Danube River Canal back in 1992, which allows ships to finally pass from the North Sea through Europe into the Balkans and ending into the Black Sea. The low-lying areas of eastern Austria have nice grassy hills and plains, perfect for cattle raising and, of course, dairy production, where some of the classiest Austrian cheeses are produced. Now, of course, Austria's economy is not really that heavily based on agriculture, but rather services and industry, specifically in engine and medication manufacturing. But who does all the manufacturing? Let's find out in demographics.
And also Red Bull. Red Bull is Austrian. I don't know, that's just a random fun fact.
You know, as the home country of Mozart, Austria still kind of lives up to its classy expectation. Austria has a population of about 8.5 million,
That's nothing, man. My state has more than that. The fuck? Bavaria probably has more than that. Wait, let me check. Wait. I can also give you the modern population. Austria population. Now it's 9.13 million. Wait, I can show you. Yeah. And then you can do Bavarian population. 13.37 million? What the hell? That's way more than I thought. Bro. You are outclassed by 4 million by Austrians. By Bavarians. Crazy.
90% of whom are ethnically Austrian, and 10% from other nations, mostly from Germany and the former Yugoslavian states such as Hungary, Serbia, and Bosnia, with an influx of Turkish people.
Wait, now I want to also know if we have Damn, my parents just came in. Anyway, what I wanted to show you guys was the GDP. Austria GDP is 516 billion. Okay. Bavaria GDP 716 billion. Damn. We got you beat. Or not we got you, but the Bavarians got you beat, man. That's actually crazy. You have to do better, Austrians, man. You are being beaten by a German state that also that speaks your dialect, so like mostly your dialect group or whatever you
People
want.
having immigrated over the past few decades. The reason why there are so many Eastern Europeans in Austria has somewhat to do with the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Habsburg dynasty, which was one of the most pivotal monarchies that shaped
Only somewhat.
the entire course of European history in every corner, from Spain to France, England to Russia, and so on. The Habsburgs even took over Mexico for a short period of time. That's how powerful these people were. Yes, Austrians speak German, however, rule number one,
It was only a short time though. He was killed though, I think.
do not call them German. They're kind of reluctant to even tell you that they speak German, and will be very quick to point out that it's Austrian German, not German German. The language has a very distinct
That's still German though. That's like an Australian guy telling you, no, we don't speak English. We speak Australian English. You still speak English. Like, I don't know.
vocabulary.
It's also not the way the Swiss German is considered a different language. Austrian German is not considered a different language. It's considered a dialect. It's not different enough to be a language. Okay? So hold your horses.
A lot of the words influenced from Eastern European nation words, and they also have their own standard dictionary set apart from the German and Swiss dictionaries. The dialect
But that has a cultural reason. It's not really for the reason that they have like such a different language. It's because after World War II, they wanted to kind of like set themselves apart from the Germans to not be associated with them as much. Makes sense. So they also wanted to be like less German in a way. So they instead of having the Duden, which they used before that, they then made their own. Even though they can just use the Duden and stuff like that, because we mostly use similar words. Okay.
dialects can change drastically in Austria. Sometimes it only takes about 40 kilometers traveling inward until you reach an area that has a completely different accent. And don't even get started on those Liechtensteiners. In contrast to Germans, Austrians like to define themselves as more soft-spoken and reserved. They don't like to upset anybody, and courtesy is very highly expected in this country.
To be honest, describing an entire population by like character traits is always a hard thing, but there is definitely like a cultural norm, I would say. Like this is how it's like this is the cultural norm and how most people are like. And I would say not I don't have that impression. I never got that impression. I got the impression that they're like somewhat arrogant and a little bit smug. Of course, not everybody, but I feel like more than usual. But I would also say that for the Bavarians, that kind like that reserving and not wanting to upset anybody. I would rather attribute that to like North Germans. And the more south you go, the more loud and obnoxious and arrogant they become. That's my theory, but yeah.
Educational accomplishments and achievements are very highly prized in Austria. One thing Austrians do kind of obsess over, though, are titles. They prefer to be addressed by every title that they've obtained for themselves, even if it equates to like 15 titles. Mr., Dr., Chairman, Vice CEO, Chairman, Otto von Schnitzelbach, Krakengeschäftmeier. One thing that Austrians will tell you
Never really experienced that, but maybe I haven't talked to any Australian doctors yet. with 15
that
titles.
they really like to do is just taking simple walks, whether it's just for an hour to clear their head, and in any weather, whether it's great or whether it's raining. They even have a word for it, spazierengehen. Don't be
What? Okay, first of all, that is pretty common in all of, I would say, pretty much Europe. I feel like we all like to take walks. And second of all, that's not a word. Spazieren gehen is 2 words. And it's like saying going for a walk. It's the same. That's like literally the translation of going for a walk in German. So what? That's not a special word. That's just like what you say when you go outside for a walk. The fuck?
surprised if an Austrian
I mean, these videos, these older videos, were definitely more prone to contain mistakes and the such. The later ones are better, so I hope they're gonna remake some, cause like Austria and like Germany also. I've already watched the Germany one a few years ago. That also has some mistakes in it, and I feel like they could do better nowadays. They do better. They also did better for the
invites you to just go for a walk. Go with it. They're a little bit more conservative in their politics, which can possibly be attributed to the growing elderly population. However, the youth have always been known to ruffle up a few controversy feathers here and there. I mean, the winner of last year's Eurovision contest was an Austrian drag queen with a beard. They keep things a little bit on the down low. However, once every so often, one notable figure comes and shines through, like Christopher Waltz and everyone's favorite bodybuilder Arnold Schwarzenegger, which, by the way, contrary to some stupid rumors, no, the last name Schwarzenegger does not have a racist connotation behind it. It literally just means the person from Schwarzen.
Do people really say that? I've heard that Americans tend to do that. They like to complain about words in different languages that sound like the N word, and then be like, man, what the hell? Having no regard for the history of the word. Like, for example, the Korean word, there's like a Korean word that is the N word, but it's a pretty common word and doesn't really mean anything negative. Hello or something, or how are you? I don't remember, but it's a very common word in Korean, and I think that also exists in Chinese, but I'm not sure. And I hear people complaining about that. So yeah.
Schwarzen meaning black, Ega meaning soil, black soil, fertile soil. It basically just means the place of the fertile soil. The family is descended from a long line of prosperous farmers, which is what the name refers to. Case closed! Speaking of relationships, let's talk about the friend zone. In the simplest way I can put this is kind of what Austria's relationships kind of look like. Now shut up and dance with me! Pretty much all of Austria's best friends have some kind of a love-hate relationship with them, but love always wins in the end. It's kind of crazy too, because in the nicest, softest way I can put this, Austria did kind of start
Hate everything about you, but why do I love you?
or influence both world wars. World War I with the attacks from the Empire on Serbia after the Archduke was assassinated, and World War II because, well, I mean, Hitler was kind of born in Austria. I mean, no Austria, no Hitler. To this day, Austria is incredibly neutral in their affairs and lies in a very interesting alliance limbo as they have neither joined NATO.
Incredibly neutral, very neutral. Personally, I think attributing the word wars to one country is kind of weird because it involves a lot of countries. That's why it's called World War. I mean, you could also argue for other countries to have escalated it to the status of a world war. But hey, for example, World War One. If Austria just declared that war on Serbia and no other countries would have intervened, it wouldn't have become a world war. And there were like the tensions during that time in Europe were pretty high, and that's why people joined in. But yeah, it could have been literally any other conflict where one major power was to join in, and in response another major power joined in and stuff like that. So yeah. And with World War II, I mean, in end effect, the German people started it because they voted Hitler. He had to get voted to get into power. So you can always make the case for like certain countries, but in reality, the Germans were the ones that started World War II.
or the Warsaw Pact. But enough on that. In regards to their eastern neighbors, because of the whole Austro-Hungarian Empire, Austria and many of the other Central and Balkan states like the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Serbia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and so on, have close ties to Austria, even though historically they had lots of drama under the Habsburg dynasty. But hey, it was either the Habsburgs or the Ottomans, and they hated the Ottomans. In regards to Italy, Italy has always been a huge trade partner, but of course, like mentioned before, the whole South Tyrol region thing kind of causes a little bit of tension. They aren't going to war or anything, but Austria is kind of like, look, Italy, I mean, come on. Everybody there is Austrian. In terms of the
Not anymore. I mean, 100 years back, sure, but though a lot of those people, people, a lot of those people moved. I had to think about that Hank Schreider meme where he was looking happy and then like with a frown, and it's like people, poople. Um, the people there were Austrian, yeah, but a lot of those original Austrians either moved to Austria, got moved to Austria, or were assimilated into Italy. So not really anymore. It's not really true.
their best friends, Austria would kind of reluctantly say Germany, but more specifically Bavaria, the region of South Germany.
I think after World War II, even like a lot of them got moved to Germany.
Bavarians and Austrians are very similar in their culture and tradition. Some Austrians will tell you that because
I meant Austria.
they get along so well, Bavaria is said to be the 10th Bundesland, or state, of Austria, although Bavaria alone has more
The same way Austria gets called the 17th Bundesland in Germany. And I mean, that's Mallorca. Mallorca gets called that a lot, but a lot of people say like Austria is basically another Bundesland.
inhabitants than the whole of Austria. You know all that stereotypical Lederhosen and Dirndl costume stuff that you see on all those Oktoberfest commercials? Yeah, that's kind of what you would attribute to Bavarian and somewhat Austrian culture.
But where did it originate? Let's find out. Lederhosen origin. Lederhosen probably originated during the late Middle Ages. They were worn for hard physical labor as they were more durable than... Oh, that was their original intended... The fuck? Use case? As they were more durable. Fabric garments... Today, they are mostly worn as leisure wear. Lederhosen and Dirndl attire are also common at Oktoberfest. La stated that the lederhosen were originally not exclusively Bavarian garments, but were worn all over Europe, especially by riders, hunters, and other people involved in outdoor activities. The flop. Okay, so it is Bavarian. It comes from Bavaria. Okay. But the Austrians just copied them. Like
only do that on special
their language with their dialect as well.
occasions. I mean, if it was up to me, I would wear that stuff 24/7, but hey, to each his own.
I mean, they did. I just found out, or we just found out maybe, that they use this for hard labor, bro. It goes hard, man.
In conclusion,
Going to your 5 to 9 in that attire. I mean, I think it would make me work harder because, like, hell yeah, but later was bro.
Austria is kind of like the country that secretly changed the entire course of all of European history right under our noses without us even knowing about it. Here's one more picture of
I mean, not really. If you know anything about European history, you know how much they influenced Europe, and during that time, you probably also noticed it. Yeah, maybe for Americans.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, and get ready because Azerbaijan is coming up next.
Okay, that was it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give a like, subscribe, your feedback in the comments. Everything is appreciated. And see you in the next video, which is probably gonna be Bulgaria. Bye.